Well, yes. So, okay. This is, so if anybody particularly notices or understands the world in a sort of a contemporary sort of fashion, they probably realise that I've not really been too sort of, I guess, myself, you know. And these people who sort of realise these sort of things, me talking about myself in a narcissistic sort of fashion, they don't seem to realise that I am myself. And that I wasn't myself. And that, and that, you know, fundamentally speaking, means that I'm no longer particularly sort of interested in preaching. Fundamentally speaking, my purpose in being is, it works. Yes, it works, yes. And if I continue on with my life doing so, I would garnish a kindling, basically. I garnish a kindling. But I need something else to go with this, essentially. If I wanted to sort of really strike into the flame of glory and achieve an absolute victory, I'm gonna need the authority of violence, essentially. Now, I've squandered this in sort of a million bajillion sort of fashions. My wildest fantasies, of course. So, the authority of violence is, I can break it down into three sort of different sort of forms of violences. And this is, the only real way that I can distinguish. I look a bit mentally dilapidated, quite frankly. That's how, like, beyond the way I've gone. You know. Before I looked absolutely fucking plastic and spastic, but I became fairly reasonable. Became fairly reasonable, and now I'm just sort of like, actually, I guess I'm okay. This is my good eye, apparently, and that's my bad eye. And this is like, my eyes are like a whale. I think I'm a whale. Okay, so, the authority of violence. Three separate ways, the three sort of ways you can be violent. The first way is you kill your enemies. You know, you're absolute murder, essentially. Obviously. Second way is nullification. You pick up a small animal and it shrieks and goes, yeah! And then it's very still for a very long time in terrifying light. And you sit there, you go, you're beautiful, you wonderful creation of life. And then you sort of put it down and it runs away. Not sure what went on. Nullification. You nullify your enemy. You are supreme violence. The third way is beauty. The beauty of violence. The violence of beauty. Both same squandaries. You are the fire to which all men desire, and therefore you are a constant strived for, and therefore you command the violence to which is brought forth to you, and it will be brought forth to you. You are getting raped in that scenario. That's the unfortunate sort of side effect of the unfortunate side effect. The horrific misery of the violence of beauty is you're gonna get your dick sticked in. Simple as simple. I saw a seagull on the side of the street, just sort of you would say pushed into the corner of a wall on the ground, but it's not compacted, just sort of there. Maybe it was pulled aside, but I don't think so. It was dead. It had recently died. I don't know how long. It wasn't. I don't think it was hit by a car. It wasn't killed by an animal. It died, and it looked incredibly beautiful. Incredibly peaceful. I couldn't touch it, quite frankly. I didn't want to take it. I couldn't. I didn't really want to stop it. That is for somebody who is much more oblivious than I. And so, life is beautiful, mate. I'm no longer a preacher. I'm giving up that title, regardless of how successful I am at it. And I am fairly successful at it. I just need the authority of violence to sort of actuate. Because that's the sort of nature of the body, in a sense. The true sort of fundamental is that there was a particular bit of propaganda against Muslims that, the fear of the immigration and such, to where it's a picture of like Muhammad Hawid, who's like this Chad sort of jihadist with a sword, is strong and affirming, sort of commanding presence, next to like a modern day sort of Western soy boy, crybaby, loser, faggot. And it was like, the women will always go for the stronger horse over the weaker horse. And this is like a Muslim proverb or something like that. Probably. So it's very much just nonsense, right? Just nonsense. But it's true. It is true. The sentiment is correct. If you were to pick something that is, if you were to have a choice, and the choice was the contrast of wretchedness and beauty, the best thing in the world, of true sentiment of glory, you're always gonna pick the better than the worst, right? You might pick the worst if it had sentimental value to you, but in a practical sort of sense, in a real sort of reality, you're picking better over worse. The only way you're picking worse is if you've got no choice or it's sentimental, and it doesn't matter for you. So, understanding this is why, when Rome was like defeated, and the Gauls, the Goths, and the miscreants sort of plundered Rome and her beauty, the meek of the Christians sort of, bent over and were like, And we'll be submissive, yes. And thus, a couple of centuries later, a whole new Roman Empire was born, made up of the conquerors of Rome, dressed in the garniture of Christianity. That's like the power of submission, basically. The slaves take over from the masters because, fundamentally speaking, you have two sort of conjectures of reality. You have the prey sense and you have the predator sense. And the predator sense is that of you are born naturally superior. You are capable by right. And if you are not, you are killed. Or something better than you shall kill you. And thus, you are not. And this is, you are born with a knife in your eye. You are an insect in that sort of regard. You have your killing sort of utensils. Your mating sort of utensils. Your utility sort of utensils. You suffer no suffering because you are a creature of pure being. You'll never be anything more than you are because you are everything that you are. This is the predator, and the prey sort of sense is pure submission. You bend yourself to the will of the world around you because you are able to. Quite frankly, you can better yourself because you submit to something better than you, and because of this you are always improving yourself, regardless of the fact that you lack natural ability. That's irrelevant. You're capable of becoming greater than yourself simply by being submissive to the thing that is greater than yourself, because you'll get the power of being better than yourself. Fundamentally. And this is like an inherent sort of thing. Everybody realizes this. Everybody knows it. This is of the bottle. This is very much of the bottle. And so that's why there's a horrific sort of malpractice of homogeny of the population that is a wild and rumorous sort of admixture of prey/predator populations of people. So you have people who are naturally submissive but are entirely sort of predatory in nature. And you have the conjecture of this is like people who are entirely predatory in nature but are entirely who are predatory but are entirely submissive. And every sort of step in between. So you have like wandering spiders intermixing with like web makers. So they have the web makers making webs everywhere, and the conjecture of spiders that sort of walk around in a spot. Maybe you have spiders that half make webs somewhere, and spiders that are like migrationally sort of functions. So it's, you have every step in between, and there's no clear flash of one way or the other. Because nobody has sort of decided to take it upon themselves to sort of commit the necessary suffering to refine people into their true selves. That's why World War III is going to happen, essentially. Because consciously, subconsciously, there's always a need for great suffering. And if you do not refine yourself, you shall be refined. Quite frankly. So, I need the authority of violence to entirely submit to my ideals, I suppose. Because I need to justify. Because I need something to justify the beautiful things that I sort of feel, I suppose. I need a thumbs up for the universe to go, yep, it's right. And I need this to be apparent. And the only way this can be apparent to somebody who is not beautiful, to somebody who is not intelligent, to somebody who is not inherently good. You know what? In all sort of senses. I need the ugly sort of option of the authority of violence, basically. A spiritual tyrant is what I need to do to preach the things that I need to preach, quite frankly. Essentially. So, because of this, I'm sort of stepping back away from preaching. I'll still, from time to time, I'll still do sort of I'll still be myself, quite frankly. But I'm sick of being defaulted to other sort of classes. Like, I'm not a teacher. You disrespect my spiritual sort of sentimentalities. My spiritual beliefs entirely. I'm not a priest. You disrespect my spiritual beliefs. I'm not a fucking eunuch. You disrespect my spiritual beliefs. I'm not a fucking concubine. You disrespect my spiritual beliefs. I'm not a 16-year-old boy who's just discovered Reddit. You disrespect my spiritual beliefs. I am not a spastic mongoloid. You disrespect my spiritual beliefs. I'm not a low-cal. You disrespect my spiritual beliefs. Beautifully made up. I don't know what else to say, really. Forgive me for being bleak. Forgive me for not being beautiful. I don't have all the answers for you, because I'm not omnipotent. I have said everything that I've needed to say, and if you cannot figure it out, this is your fault, not mine. Please forgive me. Forgive me, Beto. Absolutely so. You're not entitled to anything that you don't know, quite frankly. Just as I'm not entitled to this, to get the things that I want as well, Beto. Fundamentally speaking. I don't know. I am going to do the thing to which the be that is a thing. So, in the coming weeks or so, probably like a month from now, will be it finalized or so. I don't know. Don't hold me to any sort of date. I'm going to be doing a puppet show with the podcastian sort of peoples, which is my friend Risto and whoever else, basically. Weasel, So if you want to come on to the puppet show and talk the shit in like a free sort of sense, and it is a free sort of sense, it's free speech, say what you want, be as awful as you wish for, be as beautiful as you need, be as oblivious as you require. I'm gonna make a puppet show, I think. Yes. I have the wood to make the stage. I'm waiting on the tool. Is it my birthday today? The 7th of May. 5 in the morning. Yes. Is that my battle? This is not good, right? This is my battle. I open my eyes like this, and this looks weird, but it's actually this is feeling weird, puffy, pressure. The black hole in my brain has come back again, except it's occupying the same space as where I rebuilt my brain. So I'm no longer insane, but the nail in the brain is still remain. Absolutely so, Rita. Perhaps I'm not human anymore, and that I actually died a while ago. Which is fair enough. To mute yourself is to do so. And I did mute myself. I'm no longer on the mountain. You don't know what that means. You will know what that means. Maybe I am a local. Whoa. If you certainly look at yourself, you should find yourself wondering, what the hell? So, take yourself cheesily and live beautifully for yourself, Peter. Absolutely so.